Hello world, it's Dave again, and you have come to another culture shock video. The culture shock I'm going to talk about is related to my experience at the sports festival that I just attended. And at the end of these little bits of culture shock, I'm also just going to give a few notes on learning the language. And I don't think it's necessarily restricted to just learning Japanese. I think you could take this principle and apply it to any time you were learning a foreign language. Um, or also, in fact, I guess for when you learn something new, generally, doesn't have to be language. So let's get to the culture shock at the sports festival. Basically, I was getting set up for the day, and everybody's just kind of arriving and sitting down, and the students are getting lined up to do the opening ceremony, and I wanted to know how I could help, so I was asking one of the senseis there, just saying, where am I going to go? What can I do? How can I help? And she said, "Oh, well, we'll get you to head over to that tent over there eventually, and you can help one of the guys, Hagi, set up for whatever races if you can help." I was like, "Okay, sounds good." And I said, "Am I to do that right now? Is that what's happening?" And she says, "No, no, actually. First, there's the stretching routine." And I thought to myself, "Oh, well, she must mean the stretching routine for the students. They're going to be doing all these athletic events, so of course you want to do a little warm-up. Makes sense." But to my great surprise, this music starts to get blasted around the whole field, and not only do the students spread out and prepare themselves to go through a stretching routine, but all the staff start to line up, and not just the staff, all the parents in attendance start to line up across the field. And so everyone who showed up that day was going to go through a full stretching routine, minus the elderly. Two or three people who were just too old that it was like, whatever. Why do I need to be limber? But that's really shocking to me for a sports festival where the parents, including also the kids, are doing stretching to warm up in the day. It's a good thing. It shows an appreciation for health and fitness that is broadly accepted by the whole of the group. Just something I'm not really used to at all. That alongside them, I'm doing this with the kids. So that was kind of cool. I gotta say, they really appreciate the value of stretching here in Japan, turns out. And the day went on wonderfully. All the kids, like I like to say, there was a lot of pain where my heart used to be. And just incredible to watch the kids having so much fun and really enjoying the competition. A really good spirit of competitiveness going around with the kids. And I have to say that the sports festival in Japan is interesting as well because their style of sports and races are a little more creatively based than you might see back in Canada and I imagine the US, maybe not, the UK as well, where in Canada it's very, I would call it, they follow a very traditional Olympic format, you might say, where when you're competing, you're doing the 200 meter, the 100 meter, the high jump, and all these different varieties of, track and field events, basically. And the Japanese have that, except they do a whole bunch of different just creative races and exercises. Where one of them was, as opposed to a two-legged race, they were doing a 10-man two-legged race. That's kind of cool. They got this other like pretty aggressive one actually, where the kids, they call it horse in their language, I believe, and there's three kids that form a sort of a tripod with linked arms, and then another kid sits on the arms, and there's three different colors of teams. There's white, red, and blue, and two teams will face off against each other where you've got about a dozen mounted teams, meaning, like 12 guys mounted up on these tripods. And then they blow a whistle and they all attack each other and they're trying to rip each other off the top of their structure, their platform that the kids are creating as a tripod. I was out there preventing kids from getting too aggressive and saving kids who were thrown too hard to the ground. So really original, really, really cool, I thought. Just neat stuff they're doing and not a lot of stuff that I've seen before. Very, very creative. And I get towards the end of the day, and of course, my great fear, the thing that I'm loathing having to do, is the breakdown, because you know when one of these events finishes, there's just hours of work to do because you got tents to take down, all these chairs, all these different pieces of equipment. And then again, to my great surprise, not only is everyone very helpful within the staff and the students, that's expected of them, and something I would, I'm used to that. But then I cannot help but notice that every single parent who has come out to watch their child is milling around the field, helping clean up. They're breaking down tents, they're putting away chairs, they're doing everything that they can to help this cleanup go a whole lot faster. And I thought that that was really, really cool. Something I had never seen in Canada, and just good to see everybody lending a helping hand. Apparently, this group of people that stretches together cleans up together as well. Good social awareness going on here. So that was quite shocking. I will say I did not expect to have that help at the end of the day, and we most certainly did. So that's that. That's the culture shock. After this, we went out to, I call it a drinking party because it's unlimited drinks, but it's just kind of a party because this sports festival is kind of the marked beginning of this term. And we went out for drinks and a bunch of food and karaoke, which was fun. I did Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. I sucked at it, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And for your viewing pleasure, I've got pictures. I actually took my phone out and took a few pictures, and so those are going to be in a Dropbox link down below. And so you can check them out, just 2 or 3 shots of the 2 rows of tables, in traditional, everybody sitting on the floor kind of style, one bleary shot of me, and, people at the end of the room doing their karaoke. So you can see what one of these, kind of traditional looking little restaurants they have. I really love that people sit on the floor. It's really chill. It definitely gives it a kind of relaxed vibe when you're not at a table, or at a raised table with chairs, I should say. So yeah, links down below. You can check out that restaurant that we were at. And now I just wanted to talk a little bit about learning. Its focus is language, but I think that you could bring this to learning generally. And the point that I want to make about learning a language, I would like to liken to going to the gym. And in the gym, if you're looking for a specific type of result from your working out, there are many different types. That's what people should that's the first thing you should educate yourself for when you go to the gym, is that there is power, burst power, strength, hypertrophy, and endurance. You got 4 broad categories, and you definitely want to tune your workout differently. But if your goal is hypertrophy, and hypertrophy is just your body's synthesizing more muscle mass. It's bodybuilding by another name, but that's the more technical term, is hypertrophy. And hypertrophy relies on one characteristic specifically, and this is time under tension, TOT. And so whenever you're performing a rep in a set, you want a good time under tension, and most trainers will go for an average called 3-1-3. Again, very simple. That just means 3 seconds to the top, 1 second hold, 3 seconds down. Long time under tension. If you're doing 12 reps, many, many seconds under tension that you're going to get. And this means that you're going to get the greatest development of mass, your greatest development. And so I want to compare that to when you're learning a language and it's getting difficult. Say you're in a conversation with somebody and you're just struggling that little bit, and you can't quite find the vocabulary that you want to continue with the conversation. And the reflex of our minds, given that situation, given that time under tension, is to retreat. We immediately default to our native tongue, whether that's English or whatever else. And when you do that, it's a relief. It's as though you get to put the weight down. But this is a disservice to you. And what I would recommend to people is that if you come to that point when you're learning the language and you're struggling, stay with the tension. What you want, if you want mass development, if you want development of your ability, you want more time under tension, and you should really value that moment that you're struggling in when you're trying to learn the language, and embrace it and kind of make it last. And I can say the immediate benefit that you have to this is that whether you realize it immediately or not, you probably have, if you've been studying for a bit, some vocab that you can make work in that situation. It's not going to be a full sentence, but it could convey the point that you're trying to have without reverting to your own language, which feels more comfortable. And when you do revert to your own language, you develop that pattern where when you enter a difficult situation and you come to this spot where you don't feel comfortable, your brain's going to start to develop habits in the way that it behaves. And what you'll start to develop is a language habit where you retreat and retreat, and then you just, the more that you retreat, the more you grow used to it, the more that is going to be what you do. Where if you fight that urge and you stick with it and you just, find the language to say, just a moment, please, just a moment, and then really think about it, you'll probably be able to come to the word and then start to train your mind in a more positive direction for the time that you've spent under tension, and you will develop much more mass, much more quickly as a result of this style of learning. It's just something I was thinking about the other night, because I definitely do it when I'm faced with, I'm getting better at Japanese, but conversational Japanese is very difficult. And I know if I just fought that urge to kind of default to what is comfortable, I could probably get to the word that I need to. And then having done that the first time, it's going to be easier the next time to kind of wade through that tension, just like if you get more and more used to the gym, it really hurts when you're starting out and your body's not used to it. You get severe late onset muscle pain or fatigue or whatever. But it's only really that bad when you're first starting and you're kind of shocking your system into this new pattern that you're trying to teach it. And then it slowly fades and you may still feel pain, but it almost becomes a more satisfying feeling where it just assures you that you're doing something difficult that you're growing from. And I believe the same could be true of your process that you're going through as you learn the language. So when it gets difficult, don't quit in that moment. Kind of hold on to it and just keep grinding away until you get that one word or two that might then further the conversation. And that will then develop a much healthier pattern to your learning in general. Okay, so there's my little bit of culture shock, a little bit of language musings have gone on here. So I'm going to put my contact down below, davetrippinon@gmail.com. Song for today is going to be a really cool song. It's called Water Me, and I guarantee you've never heard this song. I might make a separate video to recommend this song. Name of the artist is Twigs, and if you've listened to anything like Purity Rings, it's hyper produced, like, thousands of layers of music or layers of sound in the song, and it's really, really beautiful. Great lyrics too. Only a very short song, but very, very powerful, very, very cool. And completely unknown artist, I have to say. So there's that. And then I always like to do my Japanese word. I'm going to toss into this as well. Japanese word is going to be atarashi. And atarashi means new. So there you go. New, that's going to be down below, the spelling, so you'll have that. You're going to have that new song to check out. I guarantee you'll enjoy. Also the link to the pictures for the drinking party that I went to. There you go. That's about it. So until we meet again next time, world, thanks for tripping with Dave. Ciao for now. Like and subscribe, all that garbage.